Bula. Many students find quadratic equations difficult at first. In this lesson, I'll be explaining the concept in factorizing quadratics that will help you in your exam. Let's go through the process of factorizing step by step, and I will explain you how to factorize and solve quadratic equations. Now, there are four different types of factorizing quadratic equations. One is factorizing using difference of two squares. An example of factorizing using difference of two squares are x squared minus 4. That is generally obeying the general formula of a squared minus b squared is equals to a plus b into a minus b. The second factorizing of quadratic equations, sometimes we call it simple quadratics. That is x squared minus or plus 3x plus 2. That is if we have 1 as our coefficient here. So it's simple to factorize this, coming from the concept of ax squared plus bx plus c. The third factorization, sometimes people call it hard factorization, that is equations such as 3x squared plus 7x plus 3. We sometimes look at two values and multiply and solve. And the fourth question, or the fourth example on how to factorize quadratic equation, is by inspection. Sometimes we look at it and inspect it, and we cannot either use the first, the second, or the third. Then if all systems breaks down, then we have no choice but to use quadratic formula. Those questions are x squared plus let's say 4x plus 1. So these are the different types of quadratic equations on how we can factorize them in the exam, depending on how it's given to you. So first you need to look at what type of equations that are given. If it's that, then you can use this approach by factorizing difference of two squares. Then we can use this approach. And if your quadratic equation is given as this, then we can have another approach. And if your equation is given like this by inspection, then we have no other choice but to use quadratic formula. Today we'll be looking at 1 and 2. Now, before we look at those 1 and 2, I want to explain you the difference between what sometimes they ask you in the exam, the difference between simplify and solve. Now in questions like simplify as such, that is x squared minus 4, and if they ask us to factorize x squared minus 4, then we'll obey the general equation or the general formula of difference of two squares. Then this is x squared minus b squared. This is written as x squared, so this is the same, minus comes down, but 4 is not written as that. But I know that a squared is equals to a times a. So I need to look for a number that is multiplied to itself to give me 4. I know that that's 2. So 2 squared is equals to a plus b into a minus b. So in our case, a is x and b is 2. So I can rewrite this as x plus 2 into x minus 2. That is just normal factorization. But if they say solve this, so if they give you questions like that in the exam and they ask you to solve, meaning solve x squared minus 4 equal to 0, we'll perform the same factorization. We'll factorize this as that. So we'll say x squared minus 4 equal to 0, and this obeys the difference of two squares. Then I'll need to substitute this value minus, I need to convert this into b squared, that would be 2 squared. Then my a is x plus my b is 2 into x minus 2. Then this is equal to 0. Then I will say that x plus 2 into x minus 2 equal to 0. Now the difference here is this. When they ask you to simplify, your answer is just this. But when they tell you to solve, it means you're trying to find what is the value of x. So we'll try and find the values of x here. By inspection, we know that if we multiply, let's say this is a and this is b, if you multiply a and b, our answer is 0. Now we know that anything that is multiplied to 0 will give us 0. So if this is 0, then I can say that this is equal to 0 and this is equal to 0. So we can say that this is x plus 2 equal to 0 and x minus 2 equal to 0. Now in mathematics, whenever we want to find x and anything that is on the left, this is our left hand side and this is our right hand side. Anything that you want to take from the left to the right, we take it with a sign and we use opposite operation. The opposite of plus is minus, the opposite of times is divide. We'll use the concept here. So I want to find x. X is added to 2. So I'll take this 2, I'll take it with a sign, take it to the other side. Positive 2, that will be negative 2, that cancels out. So we'll have x is equals to 0, minus 2 is negative 2. Same process, I want to find x. So negative 2, take it to the other side would be positive 2. Our answer would be, cancel that out, 0 plus 2 is positive 2. Since I have two values of x, I can say that x is the element of 2 and negative 2. 2 and negative 2. That is your answer. Now, like I said, if we need to identify if the question is asking us to simplify, which doesn't have any 0, so our answer can be just leave it like this. But if the question is asking us to solve, that means we need to factorize and find the values of x. That's the difference in mathematics. Those are words that they use in mathematics, like a jargon in simplifying and solve. Now let's look at the second example, factorizing using simple quadratic equations. Let's look at this example. Example 2. Factorizing x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now in this case there are one approach that I usually tell my students, that if you notice that the coefficient here is 1, so you just, because this is written as ax squared plus bx plus c, if your a is equals to 1, then you just focus on c. Now when you go on to c, you look at two numbers to multiply to give you C and to add to give you B. Always start with the first number, 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. Then you look at the sign. Now the sign, we will use this inside. The operation, we say positive times positive is positive. Negative times a negative will give me a positive. But the difference is when I multiply the two. Positive times a negative will give me a negative. Now let's look at the sign. Now this is positive. I know that positive times a positive will give me a positive. So this is positive times a positive. Positive times a positive will give me a positive. 1 times 2 gives me 2. Now add them. Positive 1, so 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. Is this 3? So if this is 3, then this is correct. Now let's go here. X squared. X squared, if I separate them, this is x times x. So x times x is x squared. That means these two pair up and these two, they pair up. So therefore my factorized form is x, since this is positive, x plus 1 into x, since this is positive, x plus 2. And that is your answer. Now if they're asking us to solve, this is a normal factorization. They ask us to factorize that. But if they're asking us to solve x squared plus 3x plus 2, if they're asking us to solve, then we'll perform the same factorization. So the factored form of x squared plus 3x plus 2 is this is equal to 0, x plus 1 into x plus 2 equal to 0. So since this is equal to 0, we'll perform that again. So since this is equal to 0, so I'll equate this to 0, x plus 1 equal to 0, and I'll equate this to 0, x plus 2 equal to 0. Now I'll shift it up here. So this is x plus 1 equal to 0 and x plus 2 equal to 0. So find x. Like I said, anything that you take from the left to the right, we use what we call opposite operation. So what's the opposite operation? Plus 1, take it to the side, would be negative 1. So this is x is equals to 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Positive 2, take it to the side, would be negative 2. Cancel that out. X is equals to 0 minus 2 is negative 2. So since you have two values of x, we say x is the element of negative 1 and negative 2. And that is your answer. Let's look at our third question. Let's stretch it a bit. Let's look at some questions that we have negative values inside. So that would be question number 3. This is an exam type question. So they are saying solve x squared minus 8x plus 12 equal to 0. Now this time around we have a negative value here. Okay, the process is the same. It's a equation. They're telling us to solve because there's an equal sign there, and then first we need to factorize. We'll notice that there's a negative sign in here. So since there's a negative sign here, and since we're factorizing with simple factorization, concept is the same. We look at two numbers to multiply to give us positive 12 and to add to give us negative 8. Let's look at 1 times 12. So 1 times 12, since it's a positive, I can say positive times positive is positive. Also, I can say that negative times a negative give me a positive. Okay, let's see here. We take it with a sign. Positive times a positive gives me a positive. 1 times 12 is 12. Add them. 1 plus 12 is 13. Positive 13. This is positive 13? No. Let's go on to the second value. 2. Can 2 go to 12? Yes. 2 times 6 gives me 12. 2 6 12, or 6 2 is 12. Let's check the sign. Since this is positive, I can say that positive times a positive gives me a positive, plus them. 6 plus 12, 2 plus 6 is 8. Positive 8. Is this positive 8? It's negative 8. So since the negative 8, that's our hint. So I can change that sign to be negative. Negative and negative. So negative times a negative. Negative times a negative gives me a positive. So negative times a negative gives me a positive. Add them. Negative 2 plus minus. Positive times negative. Positive times negative is negative. So I can say negative 2, negative 6. So negative 2 plus minus 6. So negative 2, positive times negative. So positive times negative is negative. So I can say this is negative 6. So negative 2, negative 6. So negative 2, negative 6. Let's go on to our number line. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9. So minus 2, minus 6. I'll go to my minus 2 and minus 6. So minus, you go down on your number line, plus you go up on your number line. So minus 2, minus 6. So I'll go to minus 2, minus 6. Up or down? Since it's minus, I'll go down 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our answer is minus 8. Is this minus 8? Yes. So I separate this as saying x times x. So these two, they pair, and these two, they pair. So this is, our answer is x plus 2 into x. Since this is x minus 2, since this is negative, x minus 6, and that's equal to 0. So let's find these values. So since they are both equal to 0, same process here. X minus 2 equal to 0, and x minus 6 equal to 0. So let's go. I want to find x. So plus 2, negative 2, take it to the other side would be plus 2. Opposite operation, cancel that out. 0 plus 2 is 2. Minus 6, that would be plus 6. Cancel that out. X is equals to 0 plus 6 is 6. Since I have two values of x, I can say that x is the L1 of 2 and 6. And that is your answer. Let's look at the last example. This time around, we are going to solve x squared minus 2x minus 15 equal to 0. Concept is the same. In factorizing these equations, as long as this is 1, they're all 1, they're all 1, they're all 1. As long as it's 1, we look at two values to multiply to give me negative 15 and to add to give me negative 2. So let's try the first one. 1 times 15 is 15, but there's a negative sign, so positive times negative will give me a negative. So that means either one of these two should be positive or negative. So if I put this as positive and I put this as negative, positive times a negative will give me a negative. 1 times 15 is 15. Add them. 1 plus minus, so plus minus 15. So 1 plus negative 15. So 1 plus negative 15. Negative times a positive, positive times a negative will give me a negative. So I can say that 1 minus 15. 1 minus 15 is minus 14, because 1 minus 15, 1 minus 15, I'll go down 15 times. Our answer is negative 14. Is this negative 14? No. What else? 2 can go to 15? No. 3 can go to 15? Yes. So 3 times 5. 5 3 is 15, but this is negative, so 1 is positive and 1 is negative. Let's multiply them. Positive times negative is negative. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, add them. 3 plus minus, so 3 plus minus, so 3 plus minus 15. Positive times negative, positive times negative is negative. This is same as negative. 3 minus 15, 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5 is minus 2. Is this minus 2? Yes. So that's my answer. I can separate this as saying x times x. So these two, they pair, and these two, they pair. So my answer is x plus 3 equal and x minus 5 equal to 0. So over here we'll try and perform the same concept. I'll try and get another paper before. Okay, just stand by there. So over here I can put it here as saying x plus 3 into x minus 5 equal to 0. I want to find x, so since they're both equal to 0, I can say that this is x plus 3 equal to 0 and x minus 5 equal to 0. Find x plus 3 should be minus, cancel that out. X equals to 0 minus 3 is minus 3. Minus 5 to the side will be plus 5. That cancels out. X equals to 0 plus 5 is 5. Therefore, x is the element of, since they're both x, minus 3 and 5. That is your answer. You can try this as your exercise and give it a try. Factorize, let's say x squared plus 14x plus 40 equal to 0. You can try that out. Now if you like worksheets, if you'd like some worksheets, quizzes and full solutions, you can download the complete study pack in the link provided. Thank you.